Hi guys, just going to answer a fairly common question I get about using cheap toy grade radio controlled gear to control something with a bigger motor in it. So what we've got here is a typical new bright radio controlled car with the top taken off. So forwards, backwards, left, right. Now conveniently with new bright, the motor is plug-ended. In other words, you can unplug it from the receiver board. So if I just unplug it, okay, what I'm going to do now is use the output from the receiver. We don't need to touch the receiver at all, so this is quite convenient. I need to plug something in there to bring the battery and earth out. Well, I say battery and earth, forwards and backwards they're normally labelled. And then I'm going to use a pair of relays to control a larger motor. Right, you might want to pause at this point. Here's the diagram. Forwards, backwards coming out of the receiver. Got two relays. I've labelled them F for forwards and B for backwards. They're both straight across the pair of wires, but one's got a diode pointing one way and the other's got a diode pointing the opposite way, so that when we put power on this pair of wires, one relay will operate when the current is flowing one way and the other will operate when the current's flowing the other way. Then here, that's that relay's changeover contacts. So normally made that way, and when the power goes on it, it will flick down that way. This is this one's relay contacts. So when when there's no power, the contacts are normally up here, and when the power goes onto the relay, that'll flick down that way. Here's our battery. So let's assume current's going to flow this way round. You can argue with me whichever way you want, but we'll just say it's coming up here, along here, and at the moment it goes nowhere. If relay F operates, then that contact will swing down there, so it disconnects it there and makes contact there. So current flows up here, can't go that way because that'll be open circuit, can go this way, down there, through the motor in, let's say, that direction, down there, out the bottom and back to the battery. If this relay operates instead, then current comes round here, can't go this way because this relay will have operated, these contacts will be open circuit there, closed there, so it comes along this way, down here, and this time the current's flowing in this direction, down there and back to the battery. So we're reversing the motor, and because this is completely separate to the receiver board, you can have whatever size battery you like there, as long as your contacts can carry the current. So I'm going to demonstrate using a 3S LiPo battery. It's only a small one, but it's a 3S LiPo battery. Couple of relays, and we'll connect it up to this receiver, which runs off 3 AA batteries. Right, I've got it all wired up already. So there's our 3S LiPo battery. Here's a plug end that will go into here. So if we go forwards, backwards, see if we can see which way that turns. That turns one way, turn it the other way, goes back the other way. So what we've got here, the two relays that I was talking about. In fact, if I turn it that way round, That's those two relays. And I've actually, oh, I can zoom in a bit now, just so we can see. I've actually put the two diodes out in the open there where you can see them. So that diode goes on that yellow wire and goes to the blue relay, and that diode goes on that white wire and goes to the white relay. So only one relay operates depending on which way. Just hold that so it doesn't spin off the desk. And that's it. That's job done. Circuit diagram. And we're running a large motor 3S LiPo using a normal toy grade radio control. I ought to just talk about these relays. You usually get them 5 volt or 6 volt and 10 volt or 12 volt, something like that. These are both 5 volt, and we're using 3 AA batteries, 4.5 volts, and once the voltage drops a little bit in there, then we're probably right on the lower limits of these relays. I did have 2 white ones, and one of them just wouldn't work using this setup. It would work without the diode in, but there was too much voltage drop with the diode in there to actually get it to work, so I had to swap to that blue relay. So probably not a problem if you're using a toy grade receiver that's got maybe 5 AA batteries in it, so you've got 7.5 volts coming out of it. But we're pushing it a bit with this one with just 3 AA batteries, because the most you're going to get is about 4.5 volts, so that's a bit low to operate these relays.